everyone and welcome back to Jubilee Road. So in today's video, yes, I'm actually going to do a layout update. Now it's been months and months since I did one of these. A couple of reasons for that is, well, the weather over the last sort of few months, sort of July and August and some of September has been so warm up here, I didn't want to come up here and do any sort of videos, and also I just didn't have a lot of free time. So I've kind of rejigged some of my shifts in my jobs, which has allowed me a little bit more free time. So we are going to have a look around the layout to see what work I have done. It's not a huge amount, but it's definitely worth doing a video. Now just before we get into the video, I just want to remind everyone that Jubilee Road will be closing in just over a week's time for 2 weeks for my American trip, but I am going to try and do another 2 videos after this one for you to watch while I am out there, so that should be good. And also, someone did mention, yes, I will be at the Worley Model Rail Show this year and hoping to be there on both days. So that's that over. Let's get into the layout update. And as you can see, we've got some trains running. We have 2 Arriva trains sets out. We have the WAG set, which is currently going past you now, and you saw the Class 150 DMU also in the Arriva livery. So let's go and have a look what I've been up to. The first part of the layout to have a little look at then is the main station area. I've actually started fitting figures. It looks so much more realistic with the train and figures around. Now what I've done over the rear platform there, I fitted the sort of the really cheap figures you can get from China. Now the reason why I've done that, because you can't hardly see them. Why spend all that money on the really high-end top figures when most of the time they're going to be hidden? Now on this platform, I've used the more expensive ones, as you can see sitting there. Not close up, you probably wouldn't notice, but they are the more expensive Bachmann figures and Knock figures and some of the others. But why waste money? If you can't hardly see the figures in normal running, then there's not much point in spending the top dollar for them. Sort of nod to my American trip there. So yeah, that's a little tip, but that's what I have done. New rolling stock then. Now I did do a video on the Transport for Wales set. Finally, Hornby have released the kitchen or buffet car, whatever you want to call it, to go with the set. So I do have the 4-car set now. When I return from America, I will be doing a video on this, comparing it to the one that's running around today, which is the Arriva Trains Wales set. They do exactly the same job here in Wales and up to Holyhead, so it'd be nice to see which ones you prefer. Here at the depot now at the layout, and you can see it there. The extension I mentioned quite some time ago now is still going ahead. You can see this, I want to make that come a lot further down there to get the new shed in, and I'm going to put a point so it can come back into this area. The shed is pretty much done now. It's been scratch built by a guy called Russell, who does one heck of a job. Some of you may already know his work or know him, and he really does a top class job. So of course when that arrives, I'm going to be doing a video on that. As you know, the main station concourse area. I want to do something in this area here, whether I put a new extension to the station which is glass. You see that a lot now. A lot of stations have the older building and then a glass bit on the end. I might do something like that with a station entrance and the steps down to the platform. I'm not sure. That could happen in the future. Nothing really has changed. This will be an entrance to a car park when I get round to it. And just over here I have got some new buildings just there in the corner. I just need to make an entrance there to make it look like the roadway is going off in that direction. Whether I'm going to do lighting on this layout, I haven't decided yet. It's all down to cost. You know how expensive everything is now, and to sort of light a whole layout like this is going to be hundreds of pounds, but we'll see what the future holds. It would be nice if I could really get all this lit up. Would look really nice, wouldn't it, in nighttime filming. Not much done in the castle area. I have glued down the pathway and the area out the front, but the most notable thing is these. Now these are 3D printed by MIB models. They're just nice small cannons. Now obviously them pointing at the railway, well, if they're live, there's going to be a mess. There's going to be a definite complaint if one of those ends up shooting a train. That probably wouldn't be a wise idea. Although it probably would make an interesting outtake video, wouldn't it? But anyway, they are just decorative ones, like you get in real life. Loads of places like this all over the UK have cannons in them like that. So I thought, yeah, we'll get some of those. And MIB models came up and 3D printed them for me. So, yeah, they look really nice, don't they? Need to paint them though. So once the 150 is out the way, you'll see some other work that I did a while ago. Is I built this wall. You can see it there. Now I bought this kind of off eBay, the actual texture. It's really nice, proper 3D effect, and you can run your hand over it. It's sort of embossed, I think, and I mounted it on a much thicker cardboard, so it gives it, as you can see, a much sturdier appearance and obviously lasts longer. Behind it there will be a small embankment to where the back scene is. I'm going to fill it with trees, bushes and sort of rough sort of scenery idea. And you can see there's a little recess just there. What I'm going to do is going to be line access for work only, obviously, and I might put sort of maybe a line side cabinet or two in that area. The other thing I did was, actually, this is going to sound strange, I pinned this track down. For whatever reason, I don't know why, this section of track I never pinned down, and it's been down well over 1.5 years now, or 2 years I think now by now, and I never pinned it down. And I didn't really notice until the other day. I thought, yeah, I might need to do that. So that's what I've done. So let's go down to the other end of the layout and have a look at the 009 gauge. And here is the 009 gauge. Now, as you know from previous videos, it does run up to there, and you can see that section of flexi track. That is the last part of track work that I actually need to do up there. Here is the small station halt. You can just see it behind the coaches there. Now this is where it ended. Now finally I've got this painted. How long did that take? Oh my gosh, I really need to get on with it here, don't I? I have ballasted it, but a lot of work has happened that way. Let's have a look. So I've actually got the bridge in now. These are just I think the N gauge, yeah, N gauge Pico girders. Now I thought they'd suit this rather well. I'm going to weather them up and paint them a little bit, but they are in place. I've used card wall in this area, and obviously it does look a little bit untidy, but once it's all blended in with trees, bushes, and all that kind of stuff, it's going to look rather nice. I did have a spare piece of track laying around. I thought, what shall I do with that? Just an old siding. Now I am going to put another piece of rail going down here just to make it look like it did connect. Then I'm going to rust it up, put some grass, and maybe an old wagon sitting there might be nice. So in this area, as you can see all 3 levels of track. Where the 150 is just going up under the tunnel, that's the main running lines. We have the 009 gauge, and then we have the branch line coming into the station. So that'll be good for filming opportunities. You can just see it there going into the tunnel and it heads up to the main station. I've also finally got that painted. Again, it looks a bit horrible, doesn't it? But once all the bushes and grass are on it, it'll look much better. And I have laid the track. And this is currently all working. All the way around there I've used flexi track, 2 pieces. It's really, really easy to work with this track. Much better than 00 gauge, I found. Now, I don't know what I'm going to do here yet. Maybe a waterfall coming down here, a pond area, a lake. I'm not really sure. They're just there to make it look, well, it doesn't look make it look any better, does it? But you can get the idea. It's either going to be an embankment like that full of trees, or a waterfall and a lake. Let me know your thoughts. What would you prefer there? So if we continue just here, now you might notice this dangerous piece of track. Well, that's not really going to help, is it? There's going to be an almighty accident, I think, if the train, well, it's got a long way to trot down to the Heritage Railway. Now, this 009 can't go any further than here. There's just no space for it. I've tried to plan loads, but I just can't fit it in. But I want the train to disappear off the layout. Thinking, well, how can I do this? Well, this is going to be cut just here, where the tunnel entrance and comes through. and I'm going to build a platform, a removable platform, to come across here. This is just during filming, so I can have longer trains on the 009 and better filming opportunities. Yes, it will look ugly across here, but it's basically a removable fiddle yard just to do filming. You'll never see it during filming, only in these layout updates. That's the best way I can come up with to run longer trains and make it just much better for filming. As you can see there is the tunnel entrance, which then brings this way up to the main Jubilee Road station. And there we have it. That is pretty much all the work I have done here at the layout over the last week or so. Now, as you can see, yeah, I really am trying to ramp things up here, doing as much work as I can before going away. But obviously when I get back, I will continue with the work. So yes, thank you very much for watching today. Give me some feedback. It's always nice to hear from you, to let me know how I'm getting on. It's really good to hear from my fans and audience, whatever you want to say. So yes, there'll be 2 videos coming after this before I go away on the 12th of October. There will be a small running session, which will be sort of a more modern theme, like we have passing past the camera right now. And then hopefully, When It All Goes Wrong is back for another episode. It's been a while since we had one of those. So those 2 are coming up very shortly. So that's it from me. I'll be back here very soon at Jubilee Road, or in America. Bye everyone.